Planet X TV.
What's happening, Planet X? Chilling here with Bob Babbitt, USA Hall of Famer, Triathlon, Ironman Hall of Famer. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Let's go ahead and take a look at this week.
Only here on Planet X.
All right, Planet X, we all know I've only been doing this for such a long time, about a year or so. Bob here has been doing it for such a long time on his radio show. Bob, I need some tips. Anything, any news I can have? Anything going on that I can do better?
I think you're absolutely perfect, man. I think a year, it's time to go national, baby. It's time to go national, international. Forget about just small Planet X, big Planet X.
Planet X.
Exactly.
Planet X World.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah.
So the radio show, tell me about your radio show right now.
Well, the radio show right now is called Babbittville. I've got that show is on iTunes. And the whole idea is, I wrote an article years ago in Competitor, the whole idea of Babbittville was that every day is like Camelot. You know, it's like beautiful, sunny out, the wind's at your back, the roads are glassy. That's Babbittville. So that when I left Competitor and decided to start my own show, is like, let's do that. We've had to have 700,000 downloads on iTunes since we started, and on Babbittville.com. Then was asked by iHeartRadio to do a second show, which is the Endurance Sports Network. That's a weekly show, and that's on iHeart and iHeart.com, which has been really, really fun as well. Shorter interviews. The Babbittville shows can be anywhere from an interview for 40 minutes to an hour. Wow. So when you're out riding or running or doing whatever you're doing, you're listening to a Chrissy Wellington or a Dave Scott or a Mark Allen, and you're getting inside their head on what they were thinking when they won the Ironman, when they won the Boston Marathon. It's pretty cool. So when I first started this on Mighty 690 here in San Diego, the whole idea was that we had these little dinky sports, running, triathlon, cycling. People didn't really know much about them.
Not very big, yeah.
So when I went to the radio station, I was like, listen, I want to buy time, and my purpose is I want people to hear an interview with Wayne Gretzky, with Magic Johnson, big-name athletes, and then hear Dave Scott and Mark Allen and go, oh, they must be important too.
They must be big guys.
I felt we had a responsibility to grow our sports and grow our industry, and that was what we did. So starting in 1990, we grew that. We grew Competitor from one edition of the magazine here in San Diego, and at the time we launched in 87, we were under 20,000 pounds of bike racks. We were paying $200 a month. Our first print bill was $20,000. We had 17. So we were in the hole from the beginning. Didn't pay ourselves for the first 2 years, but we loved what we were doing. And we felt that our brand would resonate, that the brand Competitor would mean running, triathlon, cycling, mountain biking. So being there when mountain bike started, being there when adventure racing started, that was really important to us. We could be nimble and we could move in on sport. Inline skating came and was there and was gone, all in the span of a couple of years. So we were there, especially with the sport of triathlon and the Ironman triathlon. I did my first Ironman in 1980, and people don't realize with this brand now that just sold for $880 million, that back in 1978 when it started, there was 15 people on the starting line with 12 finishers. Same thing in 79. When I went over 1980 after reading an article in Sports Illustrated about the Ironman, there was 108 of us. So the thing had, mushroomed 10 times what it had been before. But it was finishing that race, and again, sometimes being oblivious is good.
Sure.
I had no idea that I could swim 2.4, ride 112, and run 26.2 all in one day. I had one day.
And you thought it was going to be 2 days.
I did think it was going to be 2 days. I had a bike with panniers, sleeping bag, and tent, and the bike cost me $75 at the police auction. And I thought you swam 2.4, rode 56, camped out, and rode back the next day and ran the marathon, which made a hell of a lot more sense. So it was one of those things that when I finished, and I remember coming down Diamond Head, right? And there was no aid stations. You had your own crew with you, and it's dark out, and I got this Fiat convertible with my crew behind me, following me, and I'm coming into Capilani Park, and I'm thinking, this is so cool. There's going to be a band. There's going to be all sorts of excitement, cheerleaders. And all of a sudden, I see a light above me. I see a chalk line across the pavement, and I hear a voice out in the darkness. Hey, you. Yeah? You in the race? Yeah? You're done. That was it.
That's it.
That was it. There was nobody. One guy doing one-arm push-ups in the park, but that was it. There was nobody around. But I knew that by finishing that race, that I had basically given myself a business card that told me that I could do anything. And I left teaching and started, eventually went to work for another magazine called Running and Triathlon News. We created Competitor in 1987 with my partner Lois Schwartz, and we just believed in what we were doing. And then when we were bought in 2008 and by a private equity firm that created the Competitor Group, and to see my brand Competitor on a 50,000 square foot building with 500 employees, all of a sudden you're going, and 32 events around the world and 11 editions of Competitor and Triathlete magazine and Women's Running, to see where our industry had gone and how much it had grown. It was pretty reassuring.
Never imagined that.
Never imagined that. I always knew that our events change lives for the better. Yeah. When you finish a marathon, you become a better person, a better employee, employer, dad. I mean, you've done Tough Mudder.
You're a happy guy.
Don't you feel those endorphins are special? They change who you are and what you can accomplish. They make you better.
Planet X TV.
Hi, I'm Brian Whitkin, founder and CEO of Pacific Records. Welcome to an ocean of entertainment opportunity.
Pacific Records is your one-stop for recording, production, marketing, and distribution. With our in-house artist development team, studio recording, and production services, Pacific Records will produce your record and fulfill all distribution requirements while marketing and branding you as an artist or band.
Planet X TV.
So we're here for 2016 Red Bull Defiance. I would imagine there's some pretty nervous people out there. It's a big couple of days of racing and they know what they've got ahead of them.
Pretty nervous this morning. There wasn't too much sleep last night.
Well, I'm a little bit nervous just doing the mountain bikes. I hate to think what it's like knowing you've got 2 days ahead.
So I think at the moment they're just sort of trying to focus in on doing what they have to do and get themselves across to the start line, and then they'll be all good after that.
Hill to come.
Oh, it's a bit of a grunt up there.
The international field this year is massive. I think it's well over 50% of the people from overseas.
Don't get water that cold at home.
So, that's really exciting, and to see the calibre of the athletes slowly increasing throughout the field as well, and the depth getting deeper and deeper.
The hardest leg of the bike sits about 15 to 20 k's down the track here, and it's a nasty, nasty hill.
Oh, we're going all right. Save the legs.
Sure they're right on our tails.
I didn't realize the mountains in New Zealand went straight up.
For a lot of people who haven't abseiled before, and then you look over the face of that cliff, and it's not optional, so you've got to do it.
No, we had a punch right at the beginning, so we just had to hammer it basically to catch up. But we made it.
Why is it so deep? Tactics will come into play. They'll probably hug close to the right-hand side of the shore into Glendew Bay and try and put the front of the kayaks into the wind rather than taking it side on for that kilometre across the lake.
Yeah, we went from last place to second overall and first mix.
First mixed. Wow.
It compares to the best events that I've raced around the world, so it's awesome.
The more people who do events, the better off we all are. And what's great now is we have an endurance entertainment marketplace.
Yes.
Now we have Tough Mudder, Spartan Race, Warrior Dash, Grand Fondo, Triathlon, running, marathon, all that stuff, color run. And all that does is get people out and realize that it's not competing with each other. It's me and you going out and enjoying this beautiful weather, climbing an obstacle, sharing a beer at the end, and celebrating life. And that's what it's all about.
Triathlons described by the legend Bob Babbitt right here, you guys. We'll be right back with Planet X after this.
Planet X TV.
I'll never forget my first race.
My heart was beating out of my chest.
I felt dizzy.
I thought I was gonna die. I was scared.
But I felt unstoppable.
Because at that moment,
I knew.
It hit me. I realized.
I realized.
I realized.
Why walk when you can fly?
Fly.
Fly.
Planet X TV.
Our Planet X back here with Bob Babbitt, our legend of triathlons. I want to know more about the Challenge Athletes Foundation. You've started all this. Where's it going? What's up today?
Well, so Challenge Athletes Foundation, a friend of ours was a 300-pound football player from Yale named Jim McLaren. 1985, Jimmy was taking acting classes in New York, was on his motorcycle, gets hit by a bus, thrown 90 feet in the air, dead on arrival, lives, loses his lower leg, comes back and reinvents himself as a amputee athlete. Runs a 3:16 marathon on not a high-tech prosthetic like you'd see today, but a walking leg.
Yeah, no, it didn't help him.
No. And then he does the Ironman Triathlon World Championship and finishes in 10:42, which is top 20% of everybody in the race. So he's changing the world in terms of the perception of what somebody can do missing a leg. So what happens is I'm covering Jimmy through Competitor Magazine. He's got sponsors by Bud Light, by Profile by Design. He's traveling the world as a very well-known, identifiable amputee athlete. 1993, he's racing up in Orange County in Mission Viejo. A van goes through a closed intersection, hits the back of his bike, propels him to a pole head first. A guy who was already an amputee becomes a quadriplegic. And myself, Jeffrey Esikawa, who at the time was working for the Tinley Company, a clothing company, and Rick Kozlowski, who was a local race director, we decided we needed to do something for Jimmy. And from Competitor, I'd interviewed a lot of paralyzed athletes. And what I heard from them over and over again, when I'd ask them the worst part about being paralyzed, it was invariably, I'm 30 years old, here come mom and dad back in my life. I have no sense of self, no sense of independence. They're driving me around, picking me up. I have to count on other people.
Need some help.
So our goal was to raise $25,000 to buy Jimmy a van that he could drive with his hands by doing a small triathlon at La Jolla Cove.
Love it.
Raised $49,000, thought our job was done, and then 3 amputee women came to us and said, do you realize that Jimmy is our hero and he's the reason we got into endurance sports? And did you know that your health insurance will cover a walking around leg or an everyday wheelchair, but anything to do with sport is considered a luxury item and it's not covered by your insurance? Which we didn't think was cool.
Stuff.
Yeah. So at that point, we created the Challenge Athletes Foundation, got our 501(c), and since then we've raised over $70 million to keep athletes in the game of life through sport. And just this last year, 1,709 grants totaling $2.5 million. So it's really cool. We built a building 4 years ago in Mira Mesa, 15,000 square feet, and we can have our athletes come there. We have a full-on weight room. Our staff of 22 is upstairs, and every single day our team is out there putting on running clinics, triathlon clinics, rugby clinics. We buy more wheelchair rugby chairs, more wheelchair tennis, wheelchair basketball than anything else. We're very well known in the world of running, triathlon, cycling, but we buy equipment and provide travel expenses and provide coaching expenses for any sport that's recognized by the Paralympics.
I believe he just described Babbittville, actually, in truth right there.
Exactly. That's the ultimate side of Babbittville, that there's no limits to what you can accomplish.
The brightest stars in the galaxy are on Planet X.
Only here.
X TV.
And Challenge Athlete Foundation has been a great extension of that. We every day that foundation changes lives. Right now we're in the middle of our grant season, so we get people asking for grants up until December 1st. And when you open up this manila envelope and you read the stories, it's somebody's life.
Sure.
And how they were injured and what they're dealing with, and parents with multiple kids with disabilities. And when they come out here in October to our San Diego Triathlon Challenge, what you realize over and over again is how important it is. A lot of these kids come from Nebraska, and there's no other amputee, no other wheelchair-bound person in their city. They've never seen anybody else besides themselves, and their parents haven't either. So they come here, and you've got 150 challenge athletes from all over the world in one place at one time. All of a sudden, they realize they're not alone. No. And other people are here to mentor them and help them. I had a mom come up to me 2 years ago, and she goes, "You guys don't realize how important this day is. For 364 days a year, my kid is a freak. People are staring at him, pointing at him, laughing at him. One day a year, he's like everybody else."
It sounds like you guys are doing a lot more. It's going to be more than one day a year.
Oh, no, it's that we have our triathlon. Actually, we have a what's called the $1 Million Challenge bike ride that goes from San Francisco to San Diego. It's a 620-mile ride. And Bill Walton, Jeff Jacobs from Qualcomm. It's like a business trip on wheels.
Nice.
And then that finishes with our meet and greet at La Jolla Shores, where all our kids are there to do a tunnel of love for our athletes coming through, because they've just raised $1.2 million for the foundation. And then that kicks off the triathlon. Then the triathlon is on Sunday.
And how do I get more involved? Challenge Athletes Foundation is going huge. You guys have been doing a lot of stuff. How do I get involved?
ChallengeAthletes.org. You can go online, you can donate, you can volunteer, you can find out. We've got our whole own YouTube channel, some of our videos that have actually run on Planet X in the past. Robin Williams was a huge supporter of Challenge Athletes Foundation. He was with us 11 times. He was on what was called Team Braveheart. Rudy Garcia-Tolson, who was a double above-knee amputee, we started working with when he was 6, 7, 8 years old. Rudy had a little business card when he was 7 that said, "A brave heart is a powerful weapon." And that became Team Braveheart. So Rudy did the 1.2-mile swim. Robin did the 56-mile bike ride. And two-time Ironman world champion Scott Tinley did the 13.1-mile run. And for 11 years in a row, they were Team Braveheart. And one of the best lines from Robin, and I said to Robin, it's so cool that you're part of Rudy's team. And he goes, "You know what, Rudy doesn't care that I won an Academy Award. Rudy doesn't care that I'm in movies. All he cares about is I'm his video game pimp, and I can get him all the cool games." And Rudy received this award up at Nike called the Casey Martin Award. And Casey Martin comes out on stage in full auditorium and goes, "Listen, the award's named after me. I'm giving it out each year to somebody who is inspirational to the disabled. Well, somebody performed last night in New York and flew all night because they wanted to present this award." Robin comes bounding out on stage and goes, "Hey, they tell me that Rudy's a challenge athlete because he's missing both legs above his knee. To me, a challenge athlete's a 300-pound guy trying to squeeze into a pair of bike shorts. Rudy's not a challenge athlete." And my favorite all-time story with Robin was at our San Diego Triathlon Challenge. We're standing there, and you know how the reporters want to get the early morning soundbite. Your news person, your weather person is out there on Sunday morning, and they always want Robin, of course. And if you put a live microphone in front of Robin Williams, it's like putting a piece of raw meat in front of a lion. It's not the brightest thing to do. So this reporter comes over to me and says, "Is it possible to get a soundbite with Robin?" And I said, "Is this live?" "Yes, it is." I go to Robin. "Robin, would you okay doing a soundbite?" "Yeah." "Is it live?" "Yes, it is." Robin comes over, reports, goes, "Mr. Williams, how are you going to feel at the end of this 56-mile bike ride?" And he goes, "How am I going to feel? I'm going to feel like there's a river of sweat like Niagara Falls running down the crack of my ass." "Oh, is this live?"
That's Robin Williams' involvement with ChallengeAthletesFoundation.org. Go check it out. Planet X. We'll be right back.
Planet X TV.
And you know what's great is that everybody's out here doing something, and it's active, it's athletics, it's outdoors. It's not like a stuffy indoor gala.
No, this is not black tie. This is blue tie.
Star.
Black tie and gray fur. What are you wearing? I'm wearing basically what we call
the new brown Berber.
Yeah, yes. It's a lovely one. What is this? It's like a sweater, really. Silverback sweater. Yeah, it's so hard to ask people. Take it off.
You should be wearing the sweater on top of the jersey.
Yeah. Look, it's a depilatory poster child. Take off the sweater, man. Why are you wearing arm warmers? Get away from me. Some woman came up and threw red paint. Don't wear fur. Oh, get away, lady. Look at me. I'm buffed, man.
I'm all natural. I got stars.
I'm Peck Boy. Watch out with the camera, man. You almost nailed it.
Yeah, I bought these.
What, those?
Yeah, I bought them.
Order now.
Yeah. They're good.
Thank you, Suzanne
I'm
Summers.
going to get bigger ones soon.
Really?
Yeah.
Look at these airbags.
Some on my back.
What about these?
It's good stuff.
She's doing the wildest camera work. Hi,
it's
how are you?
It's kind of
the TV.
I'll never forget my first race.
My heart was beating out of my chest.
I felt dizzy,
I thought I was gonna die. I was scared.
but I felt unstoppable.
Because at that moment,
I knew.
it hit me. I realized.
I realized.
I realized.
Why walk when you can fly?
Fly.
Fly.
Planet X TV.
Interesting when you talk about kids, we talk childhood obesity all the time, but usually kids follow their parents. When I'm out at triathlons on the weekends, we've got adult triathlons and the kids triathlons, and they're full, right? So the key is right now there are so many kids events out there. It really comes from the parents. If the parents are out there being active, the parents are out there participating in Tough Mudder, Spartan Race, Warrior Dash, all of that, kids are going to go with because it's fun. Kids are, I always felt the triathlon was the best sport for all of us hyperactive people because, you know, you start to swim and then you're going, this is really fun, this is getting boring, I'm really tired of this, I'm done, right? Then it's, I'm on the bike, I'm riding the bike, this is fun, that's pretty, my butt hurts, I'm done, right? Then it's this run, oh my God, my legs hurt, oh, they're starting to feel good, oh, there's the finish line, I'm done. So it's the idea is I think kids a lot of times are being put in baseball, football, basketball. They're putting in one sport and they're trying to make them specialists. Let kids play.
Do all of that. The sports, the triathlon.
Absolutely, play. And a lot of times your running coaches are saying, well, don't get on a bike or don't swim. And swimming coaches are saying, don't ride a bike, don't run. Yeah. And I just think that all kids should be doing everything. When they want to specify and get better, then they can do that at a later date. But in the meantime, let your kids be hyperactive. Yeah. Let them have fun, right? Get them out there and give them ways to enjoy themselves and don't bore them. If your kid's just swimming and looking at the black line every day, I'd go play video games too. They go out of their mind. Yeah. So no, the key is it comes from the parents. The parents have to be the role models. If you're a role model and you're out there being fit and healthy, kids are going to follow.
Take your kids to Babbittville is basically what's going on there, America, and the rest of the world, you guys.
And our USA Triathlon has junior programs, and we've got kids 4, 5, 6 years old. And the thing is, when triathlon became an Olympic sport in 2000, we realized that kids have to start early if they want to be the best. The best athletes in the world are from Spain and from England because those kids, Javier Gomez, Alistair Brownlee, Johnny, they started when they were 7, 8, 9 years old. Now they're the best in the world. They're winning Olympic medals. They're making, $1 million a year. And the reality is that if they had done one sport, if they had just swam or just ran or just rode, they'd probably be out of it by now. So it's the stats sport, and the thing I call it, I call triathlon is a sport that it's fountain of youth, right? If you're just running, the orthopedic reality, and I don't want to break this to anybody out there, orthopedic reality, if you're running after the age of 40 or 45, you're not getting better, right? Your body is going to break down. You need to, every orthopedic reality, every runner needs to become a cyclist. It's
swim it out.
You got to swim, you got to ride, and then what you find is you're 60, 70, 80 years old, and you're faster than you were 20 years ago. I'm 64 now, still racing, and won my division Catalina Triathlon this weekend. Yeah, and I'm going faster. You can go faster and swim and bike forever. There's no reason. Your running is always going to be a limitation because it's pounding. But you got two sports where you can become better at. And the other thing is, in terms of weight loss, there's no limitation to how big somebody is swimming or cycling. Right? Unless you're climbing Mount Everest on the bike, anybody can ride a bike. The running is a problem. So you swim and you ride, then mix in the running when you lose some weight. But the ultimate weight loss is getting in the triathlon. Where you think it's an uber sport, I can never do it, I'm overweight. It's just the opposite.
Totally fun, you guys. Don't think it's a challenge. It's a challenge to yourself because afterwards you feel so great about it.
exactly. And I'm so excited that we're signing you up for a triathlon, and Planet X will be covering it. That is so hot.
I'm going to be running it. I'm there, you guys. Bob Babbitt, thanks for coming in. I really appreciate everything, you guys. Go ahead and check out. We'll be right back.
Only here on Planet X.